Venerable members of Mahasangha, dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, I think some faces are more familiar to me. So last year also I found some of you and also my students also there. Therefore, I'm so familiar with you, even though time is limited here. My topic is given as the Four Noble Truths. So it is not quite hard to understand, but we have to struggle to realize it. Not to understand the term wisely, something like that. So we have to realize one day, that's why we want to know objectively what they are and also the knowledge regarding this matter. Before I go to my topic, I would like to say something regarding this. While I was collecting some references regarding this topic, namely Four Noble Truths, I thought that how can I talk about the Four Noble Truths only within the limited time, because there are some limitations and also some objectives are there. So therefore, how can I cover up? So while I'm collecting those references, I found several other the facts which are relevant to this topic. So that's why I made the full article regarding this. It's still not completed, but in that I found that the Theravada perspective on Satya, Four Noble Truths, True Truths, and the modes of interpretation. So regarding this, I made that full article here, even though it is not completed so far. So I'm going to talk about the Four Noble Truths under these subtitles. Is it okay? Okay. While we are talking about the Dhamma sharing, actually, we have to know the sources. So before I start the sources, I would like to pay my homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Let us begin today's Dhamma sharing with opening salutations to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, how we start with the sources? What is the significance of sources while we are talking about the Four Noble Truths and also regarding the fundamental teachings of the Buddha? That is quite interesting, because without knowing the primary and the secondary sources, how we make as genuine and the trustworthy document? So that's what we have to think while we are collecting that the knowledge. It's like substantial or empirical knowledge. We must know what are the references regarding this as well. And also the important fact is how we use out the primary sources and the secondary sources in order to make the genuine and trustworthy document or the sharing. That's why I decided to make some few the sources underline of this topic. The first one is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I think you heard that is the first sermon of the Buddha. And also Mahanidana Sutta Digha Nikaya. So even though it is it's considered that the length discourse, we can get some references regarding the Four Noble Truths as well. So even in the profound way, we can gather that knowledge as well. Another interesting fact given to the Satyavibhanga Sutta, Why it is more significance? Because there is a combination, relationship between Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and the Saccavibhanga Sutta. Are you a member of the chanting group? No, huh? Okay, it's okay. In the Chatubhanavara Pali, in that the book of protection, we find out the two main suttas listed here. One is the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the second one is the Saccavibhanga Sutta. Both are inserted in the one book. That is quite interesting as well. So the important thing is some references given in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta concisely and precisely. But how we know some details regarding this? So for that purpose, we have to read out the Saccavibhanga Sutta. In other words, Saccavibhanga Sutta is considered as the commentary type of sutta. There are so many details are included there, and also many references, even whatever not explained in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, details, references are inserted in the Saccavibhanga Sutta. That's what we are going to talk about today on Four Noble Truths. How some references are not explained, and also how they elaborated in the Saccavibhanga Sutta as well. And also even in the Vinaya, we find out some references regarding this, like early monastic rules incorporating the truths in the Buddha's enlightenment narrative. So this is what we have to know, how it is connected with the disciplinary works. Even though they are connected with the disciplinary works, some references are inserted there. So another important source is the Sangyutta Nikaya, Vedana Sangyutta, links truths to feeling and impermanence as well. So this is also somewhat different aspect we find out in the Sangyutta Nikaya. Finally, I found the Anguttara Nikaya. So that it's usually we find out as the chronological order. In that chronology, we find out the truth framed with the three poisons. Three poisons means the hatred, greed, and delusion. So this is what we find out in sources. Actually, I found only the primary sources here. I'm not going to discuss regarding the secondary sources and the journal wisely how we gather the knowledge regarding this. Okay, introduction is so brief. Cannot talk about many things in the introduction part. That's why I'm going to show how we identify briefly Four Noble Truths. Before go to the Satya and also the modes of the interpretation and also the fourfold truths, something like that. So they are also quite interesting point that we have to discuss more and more often. But introductory level, we have to know what it is. There is no brief introduction in the world. Introduction is a brief document. Therefore, we cannot make shorter than this. This is the short. That's why introduction part. So the important fact is the diagnostic framework. How the Four Noble Truths usually give the diagnostic framework. As you know, Buddha has another epithet, the Baisajya Guru. There is a very famous statue in Japan. They named as Baisajya Guru. Who is the Guru? It's so popular. Guru is the teacher. Baisajya or Bhesajya. In Vinaya we have Bhesajya Kandaka. In Sanskrit we say Baisajya. Baisajya means the medication, physician. So Buddha is the teacher of the physicians. That's why Buddha addressed as Bhaisajya Guru. So how Buddha becomes a physician? Even in the Four Noble Truths, we find out some references why we have to address Buddha as the Bhaisajya or Bhaisajya Guru. So this is one instance that can we prove how to make that epithet. So one is understand his suffering and his resolution. Buddha make understand the suffering and also the resolution. So what is the Pali term for suffering? Dukkha. Is it correct translation? Then why we use it? If it is not correct translation, why we are using out here? Only for the communication we are using to, only for the sharing the knowledge regarding the dukkha. But conventionally it's okay. Conventionally it's okay. But what is the ultimate sense of that dukkha? For example, if I say that suffering, misery, pain, is it dukkha what Buddha wanted to say? No, that is not. What Buddha wanted to say regarding the dukkha? Buddha elaborates throughout this term that the unsatisfactoriness of the world. That's what Buddha wanted to show throughout this way. So most appropriate term for dukkha is the unsatisfactoriness. That is something long, that's why we cannot pronounce easily. Suffering is simple. But we have to know ultimately what is the exact meaning from those terms. That is quite interesting. For example, if I say that mind, mind, is it chitta, mana, or vijnana? So that's what we have to think. Conventionally we can say something regarding this, but we have to know the ultimate sense of that in terms of the terms what we are going to take off. So therefore, ultimately, objectively, we have to know the ultimate meaning of that. Regarding the Four Noble Truths, what we have to identify as physician? Disease. There is a disease. If there is a disease, there must be a origin, cause, arising. If there is no disease, nothing to medicate. So we have to search for the origin, arising of that, the disease. Usually in the eastern subcontinent, we are searching for the origin of the diseases. So that is the difference between eastern and the western perspective. So how we make that medication, searching for the origin of that disease. Even in the Ayurveda. So how many Ayurveda books are compiled to identify the origin of the diseases? So this is important. And also, if there is a cause, there must be a cessation. How we stop that? So they are interrelated. They are interrelated. And also finally, what is the cure? What is the path? Path for what? To cessate this. Therefore, the one thing that we have to consider, there is a disease. If there is a disease, there must be an origin of that. If there is an origin of that, there must be a cessation. Then finally, we must have the cure. Finally, we have to know that it is curable or incurable. Some of them are incurable. But even in the Buddhism, some of them are incurable. We have to struggle hard to eradicate some defilements as well. It is quite hard. However, that's what we have to do as followers. Therefore, in introduction part, we have to know exactly what is the simply Four Noble Truth is. This is what we have to discuss here. Then what is the suffering? Dukkha. The famous statement in the world, Dukkhe loko patittito. The world is established in suffering. Instead of unsatisfactoriness, we also use the suffering, but we have to know what is the exact meaning of dukkha with regard to the Four Noble Truth, but the simply we use the suffering here. The important fact is how we identify the dukkha as well. So what is dukkha? When we go to the Western, they ask what is dukkha? We say, this is dukkha, this is dukkha. There are so many concepts regarding this, but they can't understand objectively what it is. Because there is no dukkha in the Western. They feel that everything is sukha, happiness. We are talking about the dukkha. So what is the difference between the conceptually? So what it is? So important fact is, even though we are talking about dukkha, Buddhism is neither pessimism nor optimism. Buddhism going on the middle path. We are not pessimistics. And also we are not the optimistics. So some people argue that Buddhism is a pessimism because always talking about the dukkha. No, that is wrong. That's wrong. How we answer them? Even though we are talking about the suffering, dukkha, misery, so unsatisfactoriness of this world, there are some list of happiness in Buddhism. How we grasp them as well. It does not mean that we don't have happiness, always we are in the dukkha. Always we have to face into the dukkha. That means we are torturing ourselves. No, that is wrong. It is a misview regarding the Buddhism in the world. Buddhism is neither pessimism, not also the optimism. So there are some the things that we have to consider. For example, the Theravadins are Vinayavadins. Always we are talking about the disciplinary rules and the regulations. Always we are going to preserve the regulation laid by the Buddha. But how about the Sutta and Abhidhamma? We have to talk about the Sutta and the Vinaya, Abhidhamma. Vinaya is the part of the Tipitaka, and also we have to preserve them as high ordinated monks or the novices or whoever, as followers in Buddhism. So this is our main responsibility, is to preserve the Vinaya rules. The thing is, is Vinaya for us, or are we for Vinaya? Some people are living for Vinaya, but Vinaya for us. So that's what we have to identify finally. So in the sum up, we have to think, for what? This is for us. We have to understand, our responsibility the preservation of the Vinaya rules. So sometimes we break down the Vinaya rules. Again, we observe the Vinaya rules again. This is what we do even in the novices. So daily we have to observe the 10 precepts. So why in the first and the end, is it not sufficient? No, daily we have to purify it. What is that? Because sometimes unintentionally or intentionally we break down the rules. That is normal and natural as human being as well. So that's why we have to make it clean. So this is what we are doing here. Is it clear? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, please let me know. We can discuss. The important fact here, under the dukkha, the Buddha gives a list of dukkha. What are those? Birth is dukkha, decay is dukkha, illness, death, separation from the pleasant and the not obtaining what one desire. These are the list of dukkha. But most important term given here, sankittena panchupadanakkhandha dukkha. That is the most appropriate term that we have to realize one day. Everybody can understand the birth is suffering. Decay is suffering that we are facing now. Aging is suffering. Is it? But one day we have to realize that aging is suffering. Even though we want to make some makeups, but aging is suffering. But that is not the important fact in Buddhism. The important fact is how we realize the five aggregates are suffering. That is the place where Buddha needs to proclaim regarding this. Everybody can understand when we go to the hospital, so everything is suffering. We frustrate on that. How people are screaming, how painful of the life, and also some diseases incurable like cancer. So sometimes we cannot control ourselves. So something like that. There are some sort of things to be considered. But it is normal and natural. So we are the part of the nature. That's why we have to face into those. But the important fact is how we realize the five aggregates are suffering. Can we understand that? No, that is the place where we have to understand throughout the profound way. That is the profound way. It is so profound. Cannot understand in the simple way. That's why Buddha says briefly or in brief sankittena. But even though it is in brief, that is not brief those who follow the Buddhism as ordinary people. That is not quite easy. So therefore, that's what we have to understand as dukkha. We will discuss later on with details. And also origin of the dukkha. The main thing that we have to consider, the craving. Do you have craving? How much? Uncountable. Uncountable length. Because we are always accumulating something. That is the reason. That is natural. No need to scared on that. That is natural. It depends. It depends. We cannot say that I have much the craving than the others or less than the others. It depends. Time to time. And on the context we have to realize that, for example, if you come to the temple, no craving. We are neutral. We are neutral. But when you go back, again increase. Here we try to decrease, cannot eradicate totally, but that's what we have to do here. So anyway, the main thing is the tanha. If we can eradicate the tanha, we stop this journey. We don't know how many numerous years we have been wandering in this journey. The starting place is unknown. How about the destination? Unknown. So, in between this, we are wandering here. Why we are wandering here? Because of the craving. So, there is a statement in Pali, tanhakkayo nirodho. Tanhakkayo nirodho. Tanha kaya. Nirodha is the liberation or emancipation. That's what we are going to achieve as our final goal. Tanha kaya. You know the tanha. Tanha is the craving. Kaya? Kaya means the eradication. Eradication. Eradication of craving is the liberation. Tanhakayo niro, that is simple. No, K-H-A. K-H-A. That kaya is the body. That means the tanha kaya, K-H-A, Y-A. Y-A. Kaya. Tanha kaya. That is difference actually. The aspirates we have to pronounce as aspirates, non-aspirates pronounce as non-aspirates. In other words, with each sound they are called aspirates. We have to pronounce as k, g, p, b. They are the letters of the aspirates. That's called the Mahaprana. We have to pronounce as H sound. That is kaya. If there is no H sound, that is kaya. That is the way of Pali language. So we cannot talk about the Pali today. But everything is written in the Pali. That's why we cannot forget the Pali language here as well. Sorry. No, that's not actually. That is kaya. Kaya, K-H-A, that means the eradication. Eradication. The another one is kaya, that is body. No H sound. Okay. If there is an eradication of craving, that is our final goal. This is how we eradicate the arising of the suffering. How to cessate this? The important thing is we have to cessate. Once after we cessate this suffering, there is no rebirth. There is no dukkha. We will not born again in this sansaric journey. We stop already. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to stop this journey? Not yet. Because we have some responsibilities towards the family. Yeah. That's true. That's true. We have something more for the family or community or for the temple as monks, for the devotees. That's why we postpone our responsibilities. We are postponing and we are forgetting our final goal as well.
Excuses.
So many excuses. But when time comes, we have to realize it. That's the important fact. Otherwise, we cannot delay on that. Our main responsibility is to gather the knowledge gradually, and when time comes, we have to eradicate our defilements as well. This is our main responsibility. For that purpose, we are sharing the knowledge, Dhamma knowledge, and also we are practicing, we are observing. There are many things which are in the profound way. That demonstrate we are ready to achieve the Nibbana or the emancipation as soon as possible. This is what we are going to do. Finally, what is the path? If there is cessation, we have to go on this path. We have to know what is the path. There is an interesting book called the Visuddhi Magga, Path of Purification. The huge book, Path of Purification. It is not quite easy to understand as beginners, but there are 7 purifications are listed. All are the paths how to achieve one day. So this is what we are going to understand throughout the path of purification. So the thing is, Nibbana is one. We don't have 2 Nibbanas. But the statement says that Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo. In the mindfulness, Satipatthana, it says that Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo. What is Ekayana? Only path. This is the only path for the liberation. Ekayana. Ekayana means the only. So the Buddha mentions that this is the only path to understand the liberation. Only path. How about the other paths? There are so many paths to achieve the Nibbana. Then how Buddha says that this is the only path? Here only means this is the straight path. Only indicate the straight. If we follow up the Satipatthana, this is the straight path that to achieve the Nibbana soon. Others are alternative paths. That is quite simple. For example, if you say that this is the capital of the Malaysia, what is the straight path to come to the KL? So there are so many alternative paths. Today morning I came from Malacca. That is also one path. You can come from Penang. You can come from Mua. There are straight and alternative paths. But we search for what is the straight path easily to reach. That's why we are using the map. There should not be the jam much. So very simply we have to reach in time. We are searching for the straight path to reach into this place. But there are many alternative paths. Likewise, in Nibbana, there is a straight path, others are alternative paths, but finally we are reaching to the same place. That is quite simple. So therefore, the Magga is important. Magga is important. So with regard to the Four Noble Truths, we have eightfold paths. Eightfold. That is Aryo, Attangiko, Maggo. Okay, before go to the Chatu, Arya, Satcha, there are 3 words. Chatu, Arya, Satcha. 4 noble truths. Chatu means 4. Chatu means 4. Arya, noble. Noble. Satcha, truth. 4 noble truths. Chatu, Arya, Satcha. Chaturarya, Satcha. How we understand that? Then what is Satcha? Satcha is important because some recluses, In the time of the Buddha, they were searching for the King Satyagavesi. What is Satya? What is truth? They were searching for. But Prince Siddhartha was searching for King Kusalagavesi. What is unwholesome? What is wholesome in the world? Kusala. How we refrain from akusala to kusala. This is what Buddha was, as Prince Siddhartha or ascetic Siddhartha, he was searching for. So therefore, Satya is important, because ultimately we have to realize this is the way of Satya. Because we are the people who searching for the Satya. What is the opposite word for Satya? Musa. Lie. We have to refrain from lies and search for the truth. First we have to refrain, then search for. So opposition is important to know, otherwise we cannot compare. That comparative study is important to know what object is given here. That is reality. Something vertical and undeceptive, often contrasted with the delusion. We have to refrain from delusion, moha, and also such emphasize it. Objective reality is to penetrate through insight, as in the praise Arya Satya Noble Truth. This is what we have to understand as Satya. This is the place where we have to consider what is exactly Satya is. What exactly Satya is. The important thing is the first term, Ekangi Satyang Nadutiya Mati. There is a quite interesting term that there is only one truth, there is no second. What is that? Then why we are talking about the four? Today we are talking about the four noble truths. But here it says that Ekangi Satyang, Satya is one. There are no two truths. What is that? Is it confused? Confused, huh? How we understand? Only one Satya in the world. There are no two truths. But we are talking about the Four Noble Truths.
Bhante, is the four referring to just one?
It leads to only one. Nibbana. Is it? What's confusing?
Both are correct. The important thing is, with regard to Buddhism, only one truth in the world. What is that truth? That is the truth of suffering. That is only one truth in the world. Truth of suffering. What is the truth of suffering? If we can solve ourselves, we will not born again. This is what we are going to search for. Even though it is profound, there are no alternative ways to search for the truth of suffering. Then what others? So another one is I will mention that Due Satchani Akkasi Sambuddho Vadadang Varo. Buddha declares two truths.
The other one is conventional. The other one is ultimate truth.
One is conventional, another one is ultimate. Okay, don't confuse that. First one, Ekang Satya, is only one Satya. Here it says there are two truths. Tatiyang nupalabbati. Here you see, then what it is? One satcha, two satchas, and four satchas. How is soul lover say? What is the one satcha? That is the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering. Only one satcha in the world. There are two satchas, conventional and the ultimate. Again we have four satchas, dukkha, samudaya, magga and nirodha. Then why Buddha says only one satcha and also four satchas? One is one, no twos. No, they are the parts of the satcha, truths. They are the parts. Satcha is one, truth is one. But how to reach into that truth? There are so many parts of the truths. Reach into the one. Is it clear? Any doubts on that? Any confusions? Okay, I will repeat again within few seconds. The satcha is one, ekang is satchang. That is the truth of suffering. That is the only one truth in the world. Again, there are two truths, conventional and the ultimate truths. So they are the parts of that first, the one truth. Again we have four noble truths, dukkha satcha, samudaya satcha, nirodha satcha and magga satcha. They are also directly connected with the only one truth. They are the parts of the truths. They are the twofold truths, fourfold truths. But through these way, what we are going to do? What we are going to do is to understand what is the only one truth. Suffering. That's what we have to eradicate. Is it clear now? Okay, thank you. So this is how we have to know. If you have any confusions, please let me know, because afterwards you cannot ask.
Because now we're talking about one truth of understanding.
Yeah. I'm going to go the discuss regarding the conventional and the ultimate. That's why I'm discussing here, because objectively we have to know finally what it is. But here we have to know there is something in the world to be understood conventionally. For example, who I am. Ahang, who I am. Is there any name as I? No. This is the conventional. Somebody has given me this name only to understand, only to identify, only to recognize. Then who I am? There is no I am. Only here 5 aggregates. Ultimately, we have only the 5 aggregates. Conventionally, to recognize there is something, they are conventional. It's conventional. This is my. So every material things goes to change one day. How we take as I, my and myself? Conventionally we take. We consult. Oh, it is mine. There is no mine in the world. Because one day we have to deprive everything. Conventionally we catch up them. But in order to go to the ultimate sense, we have to know what are the conventional facts. Without knowing the conventional facts, how we go to the ultimate? If I say that, come my aggregate, come aggregate, Everybody is confused. Who is the five aggregate? Ultimately, we have five aggregate only. But we cannot address as five aggregate. To recognize that aggregate, names are given. So that's in the profound way. Huh? Later we will discuss. Sammuti Satcha. Referring to realities established by mutual agreement, linguistic convention or common usage rather than the intrinsic essence. Before we go to the ultimate sense, we have to understand what it is, how to recognize, because we are in this community as well. So there are something to identify, otherwise cannot. So in that intrinsic essence, we need to know objectively. This is what we are going to do. And also, for example, if I say Puggala, person, there is no person in the world. No person. No. No male and female. Only we have aggregates. Ultimately, we have to understand that. But we have to differentiate that to recognize as Puggala. Puggala is the one of the profound terms that we have to understand in Abhidhamma. There's a Puggala Panyati. There is a Abhidhamma book, Puggala Panyati. This is quite hard to understand. Ratha, chariot. Is there any chariot in the world? Today we have, for example, we are not using the chariot now like in the time of Buddha. We are using the car. What is car? Collection of the materials. If we separate into each parts, there is no car. But conventionally, we recognize as the combination of all parts, we recognize as car. There's a convention. Self, atta. Who is? Atta means I. Self. Who is I? There is no I. That's the way. That is called the validity in everyday discourse. That is vohara. We use in words to recognize only. No other purposes. When we meditate in the jungle or in the aranyagatowa, rukkamulagatowa, sunyagaragatowa, even in the forest, and also under the tree, or even in the empty houses, we have to contemplate on that. How to contemplate? So contemplation based on the ultimate sense. But everything is taken as conventional facts. That is the way of our ordinary declaration. That's why we are saying we are the ordinary people. We are ordinary people because always we do not go to the profound way to realize it. Still we are searching for. That's why Sammuti is there for conventional things in the world. What is Paramatta? Ultimate truth. Refers to the realities that exist independently of the conceptual designation. On the other hand, if I say that direct meaning and the indirect meaning, that is quite simple. Direct meaning and the indirect meaning. So, direct meaning is based on the Paramatta Satya. Because we can grasp the direct meaning throughout this term as well. But indirectly we have to recognize throughout the sammuti or conventional. Have you heard the two terms rather than these, neyyatta and the nitatta? They are called the connotative sayings. Connotative sayings. Yeah. So sometimes something in the world cannot be understood throughout this way as it is. Cannot understood as it is. Because we see something, but there is something behind that object. Example, atta, self. This is I, but behind this I, that is someone else, that is the aggregate. Indirectly we have to understand that. Indirectly. There is another term that is called the neyyatta and nitatta. Have you heard these two terms? Neyyatta and nitatta? That is the indirect meaning has to take. Indirect meaning. Here also indirect. Even though say puggala I, objectively there is no I. Indirectly we have to understand that is only the five aggregate. Directly we cannot. So likewise in neyyatta, sammuti are interrelated. That's why they are called the connotative. So both are same, nitatta and the paramatta, because the direct meaning is taken. Direct meaning. I will give you the very the profound verse. So Buddha says that in one place, Matarang Pitarang Hantva, kill mother and father. What do you think? Kill the mother and father. Mataram Pitarang Hantva. Can you think that Buddha will say like that? No, Buddha said.
He actually killed the Tanha.
No, that is something else. It is true that Tanha is there in one part, but the story is not like that. Who is the mother and father? Who are the mother and father? Who is the mother?
The creators.
Mother is the symbol of craving. That's why we more attached to the mother. Why we so attached? Because of the craving. Very attached. We cannot live without mother. So that's the way, because we are, it is a great bond between children and the mother. That means, on the other hand, mother is the symbol of craving. Then what Buddha says here? Buddha says, not to kill your own mother, but to kill the craving. That is the sammuti or neyyatta. That is called the, what you call the paheli. Paheli means it's a partial. It's a partial. When we say that kill your mother, that is a partial, complicated. But real meaning is behind that term. That is the way of sammuti. Directly we cannot take that meaning as well. Who is the father? Who is the father? Ultimately, even though we are attached to the father, we have to know ultimately, father is the symbol of conceit, mana. Mana, conceit. Conceit. Because our surname is given by the father. That's why we get conceit. We are highest, others are lowest. Considering our surname. Who gives that conceit? Father gives in the birth certificate. Therefore, in Buddhism, father is considered as the symbol of conceit. Then what we have to do? Buddha says, kill the father. Not to kill your own father, but to kill the conceit. That is the way of indirect meaning. They are called the connotative sayings. Is it clear? Correct. Because in the state of anagami, non-returner, we have to eradicate the conceit. That is quite hard to eradicate the conceit, because it is given by our father. There is slight difference, but in contrast, we can take as it is. Okay. We go to the Paramattha. Still, we have 45 minutes more. Time is so limited. I will rushing here afterwards. So, what is Paramattha? Four ultimate realities, Paramattha Dhamma in the Buddhism. Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa and the Nibbana. They are called the ultimate realities in the world. Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa, Nibbana. So, mind formants, so factors and also physical phenomena. Finally, cessation of suffering. They are the Paramattha Dhammas with regard to the Abhidhamma Pitaka. This is what we have to understand one day. If one can understand the way of Chitta, Chitta has three folds: Chitta, Mana and Vijnana. We have to develop our mind. Pabassaramidam bhikkhave chittang. When we were born in this world, mind was so shining, because it is so purified. No defilements when we come to this world. We were as baby girls and the baby boys, so purified. When grow up, more defilements. Many dirty. No purification. So then, when we grow up, we develop up to the mana. Mano pubbangama dhamma. That's the forerunner. Mind is forerunner. So that is the development rather than the chitta. Finally, Buddha says that vijnanang anantang. Consciousness is non-self. Consciousness also cannot take as I, my and myself. Can you understand that? No. Few people of them can understand vijnanang ananta. That is the maximum level of the development of mind. He is on the path of the nibbana. So this is how we develop the chitta mana up to the vijnana. Because they are paramattha, ultimate. And also Cetasika like that, so we don't have enough time to discuss regarding this matter, because my main point is not to discuss the Paramattha Satcha. Okay. So, unlike Sammuccisatta, which relies on the convention, person as the continuum of the aggregates, Paramattha Satcha, which then the Vipassana scrutiny. Paramattha Satcha based on the Vipassana. Why it related with the Vipassana? It discusses Anicca, Dukkha and Anatta. That means we have to know the characteristics of the all objects. There are two characteristics, own characteristics and the common characteristics. Not only we are going to discuss on the common characteristics. The common characteristics of the world is Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. How about the own? What is our ownness? how we differ from each other, what are our qualities. These qualities are differ from each other. That is our own. Everybody has own characteristics. That's why they say it is my philosophy. This is my vision. Then what is that vision? That is the ownness of that individual. So that's what we have to understand. So regarding the Paramatta Satya. Okay, let's go to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Because Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta discusses the Four Noble Truths as well. It is quite hard, but we have to understand. The important thing for the fact here, Appativattiyan samanenava brahmanenava devenava marenava brahmunava kenachiva lokasming may not be stopped by any recluse or brahmin or god or maro brahma or by anyone in the world. This type of sermon has not preached by anyone in the world. Buddha finally says, how quite interesting that point. Nobody has preached before. This is what Buddha's discovery. For that purpose, he has been wandering in numerous years in the world. How many numerous years he has been wandering to come to this position? It is quite hard. Therefore, it is not preached by the others. This is the quite interesting point. The second one is how Buddha teach the Four Noble Truths. That is the most important, quite interesting point. How Buddha teaches the Four Noble Truths. There are 7 teaching methods. Anyone here work as teachers? Retired teachers? Huh? Oh, good. We have only one teacher here. Oh, 2 teachers. Oh, even in the Dhamma school. Oh, good. Because we have to know how we teach to the children. What is the teaching method? The most important thing is the teaching methods. So, lesson to lesson, our teaching methods are differ from each other. Only single method cannot be adopted to that community. That's what we have to understand as children. Because that is called the contextual understanding. So we have to understand the context. So in that sense, Buddha mentions that there are 7 methods to teach the Four Noble Truths. What are 7? Achikkana, Desana, Panyapana, Pattapana, Vivarana, Vibhajana, Uttani Kamma. These are the 7 methods to be understood. If Buddha teaches this, what is our responsibility? We have to understand it. How we understand that throughout these 7 factors. These are the 7 factors. How to realize the Four Noble. That's why we are delaying to realize these factors. We don't know how to understand this way of Dhamma. This is one such method. So how Buddha starts? Buddha starts with the simple way. However, even though it is simple, Buddha goes to the profound way as well. That is quite interesting point. The Buddha starts with achikkana, pointing out, indicating, announcement. This is what I am going to discuss. Just announce to the audience. So when I am here, I announce that my topic is Four Noble Truths. This is what we are following. We announce. So what Buddha announces? This is the way of Dhamma that I am going to discuss with you. Then, after announcement, desana, there is an exposition, there is a teaching. So Buddha does not start teaching in first. Just announce. Then teaching. This is how we have to understand the Four Noble Truths. Otherwise, we are complicated. Huh? So after this Dhamma sharing, don't say that I am confused or complicated. I do not have any other methods rather than this. Huh? This is the method Buddha teaches to realize the Dhamma as well. So then Panyapana, setting forth, making known, describing. Buddha does not describe in first. This is how we have to understand the Four Noble Truths as well. Huh? Then Buddha describes Pattapana, then establishing. In fourth, Buddha establishes the facts. How to establish. Then Vivarana. Afterwards, revealing, uncovering, opening up what was hidden. For example, like Sammuti, there is some hidden points that should come up. So Buddha revealed it in the fifth place, not in the first. Because if starts with that, audience would be complicated. This is simple, just announce. Gradually, Buddha goes to the profound way. It's like an ocean. If one wants to see the deep of the ocean, in first, what you have to do? First, you have to go to the shore. You touch the sands first in the sea. Otherwise, how can you go to the deep in that ocean? Gradually, we have to go to the deep. That's what we have to do. So likewise, Buddha opening up what was the hidden in that terms. So this is how Buddha elaborate. Vibhajana, then he starts to analyze. That is the analytical way how we understand the Four Noble Truths. In first, Buddha does not analyze as well. However, this is what we have to do is analytical part in the end. Finally, audience realize that it's so clear, no any doubts, no any subtle doubts regarding the discourses of the Buddha. That is in the final. Making clear, making it face up, laid bare, leaving nothing obscure. No any confusion if one discusses regarding these 7 factors. This is how Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Not only the Four Noble Truths, but also the all other fundamental teachings as the 3 characteristics, dependent origination, re-becoming, theory of karma, something like that. All the fundamental teachings are depend on this, the factors. Did you study regarding these factors earlier? That is the fault. This is the way that we have to follow up. Because this says in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta itself. Not the commentators, not the sub-commentators, not the scholars, not the researchers. This is found in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta itself. Therefore, this is the appropriate way to identify the Four Noble Truths as well. So this is one such. Okay? Sure. Any problems?
So that's what you said that all those 7 things are mentioned in the Dhammacakkappavattana.
Well, actually, the valuable is there. It is also inserted because Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is the first sermon of the Buddha. That's why it explains very briefly, because this is the first. But when we compare with the Saccavibhanga Sutta, in details are inserted. Detail. Yeah, second one, second sutta. Second sutta gives the more details regarding all the terms which are reflected in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta as well. But if you need some more information regarding those parts or the terms, you have to read out the Satchivibhanga Sutta. Because this is the brief explanation.
Okay, that means later you will give detail about 7 things.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that we have 30 minutes more.
No, I'm not asking for that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, on Friday maybe. Yeah, Friday morning. Yeah, that is another topic, impermanence and detachment. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that is in the simple way. So is simply Buddha discusses the old terms in the simple way, then go to the profound way. This is what Buddha follows up, because all the how we say that empirical knowledge depends on what we understand. That is the important thing. So afterwards, we know how to develop our faculties or the senses. So it based on the empirical knowledge. But in the substantive knowledge, we gather the knowledge and keep in our mind. So it is sometimes in the comparative way, historical way, analytical way, something like that. Is based on another way. So that understand would be assisted to understand the ultimate sense of the reality. So this is the important fact that we have to grasp each and every moment. So both knowledge are more sufficient finally to realize the way of Dhamma as well. So but slowly we have to start as well, it is correct. As ordinary people and also as beginners. But I am sure that you are not a beginner as well. Okay. What is dukkha? Everybody asks, what is dukkha? As concept? Dukkha means I have headache, I have back pain, something like it is not the dukkha. Conceptually, it is not the dukkha. They are the feelings. There's feelings. Happy feelings and the unhappy feelings. Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana. They are the feelings. So everybody has headache or something like that. So cannot sleep well, cannot wake up well, something like that. They are simply, we face day-to-day, our day-to-day life as well. But anyway, conceptually what is dukkha? In ultimate sense, we have to understand birth is suffering up to the Panchupadana, 5 aggregates. That means from birth to death. We have to understand as dukkha, jatipi dukkha, maranampi dukkha. That means, on the other hand, from birth conscious to the death consciousness. Birth consciousness to the death consciousness. On the other hand, from patisandhi chitta to chuti chitta. Patisandhi chitta means the birth consciousness. Chuti chitta means the death consciousness. From that, between these, from birth to death, we are surviving. Afterwards, no more. Afterwards, in Malacca, normally we keep the ashes. In the temple, we have several numbers of the ashes, only the name there. Ashes and also some bone, but the joints or something like that. So only that. When the time comes like 49 days, 100 days, annually people keep the puja and they transfer the merits for them. That is the way of life. Everybody has to contemplate, one day our body would become the ashes. Can you imagine? Sure, we have to contemplate on that, not to scared on that. This is the way of life. Then what is the purpose of our life? Thinking of those things, so do good. Do good. Good for ourselves and for others. This is what we have to do. Life is simple. Yeah, everything is simple if you think carefully. So that's what we have to do as well. Actually, to remind them, so that is the culture. We cannot criticize the culture. Yeah, that is the culture, way of culture. That is actually, we cannot criticize that our culture is higher, other cultures are lower, something like that. We have to respect all cultures.
One day I suggest something, but then it's not good for the economy.
What you going to make ashes? Treat the fishes in the sea.
No more.
No more. Yeah. That's that is own opinion. Yeah.
It's not so good for the temple.
Yeah. That's what. There are some considerable factors as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, Sankittena Panchupadana Kanda Dukkha. In brief, 5 aggregates are suffering. This is the most important term that you have to keep in your mind. There, in brief, 5 aggregates are suffering. This is the profound way that to be understood. Because everybody cannot understand the way of five aggregate, how becomes suffering or something like this. Is a profound way. We have to contemplate something regarding this. That is not quite simple. So birth is simple because we see the birth. It is caused to suffering, something like that. We can see that, but how we see the 5 aggregates are suffering, we have to contemplate only. Just we see, but we do not contemplate on that. That is the thing that we have to consider. Sure. That is something debatable. Yeah, because that is actually culture. That is culture. That's why I said that we cannot criticize the culture, what they do, or whether it is highest or lowest or something like that. We cannot do that. But as Buddhists, we ordinarily believe that once after our departed ones, so after they departed, we have to transfer merits as our responsibilities. So we do not observe that whether they grasp or not, because they are invisible. We don't have the divine eye or divine ear to see them or hear them. So, but we believe, that is a depend on the belief, but that is not a blind belief, because that is a good example for the next generation too, how they make them in the position of good. So it's something like that. But transference of merits is so popular in the Buddhism, not only the Theravada but also in the Mahayana and also the Vajrayana as well. So, without thinking whether they grasp or not, you better transfer them. Thinking of our responsibility. So, for example, the main thing is when we give dana, we feel that whether Bhante taking that, whether refuse that, how we take, we check. That is not the way of giving. Giving is giving. Whether we don't want to consider whether they are taking or refuse, so it is prefer for them or not prefer for them, something like that. Giving is giving. Nothing else. Likewise, because this is our responsibility.
It's all about your intention, why you give, right? When we give, it's all about our intention, why we give. We believe that we give, then they will be able to, for those who are able to receive, then they get the merits. Otherwise, where do they get the merits? We cannot know where, right? So, again, wherever you are, as long as you can receive,
That's why I told you don't think too much. Thinking of your responsibility, this is my duty and responsibility, we transfer. So if you can, you take it. Otherwise, it is good for me. That is good for me. So this is good for our next life maybe, because we believe the next life too. So there's something there in the world we cannot judge in the profound way. Some ethical things are there, based on the ethics, considering the relationship. So there, but in the fundamental teaching is differ. That is something else. When we read out the Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination, their facts are something else, not like this. But the thing is, in Buddhism, we have to consider culture and the philosophy. Without culture, how we preserve the philosophy? Culturally, we have to do something. Then people come to the philosophy. Then people try to contemplate how it takes place. So, to know that, they read out some suttas. This is how we come to the philosophical way as well.
Bhante.
Clinging of the okay, briefly, because the 20 minutes more. So, the Panchakkhanda and the Pancha Upadanakkhandha, there are two terms. The Pancha Upadanakkhandha, we are clinging something with those faculty, with those the aggregates. We are clinging into. Because we are the ordinary people. Once after we realize the way of world, we do not have Pancha Upadanakkhandha because they are not clinging to that. They have Panchakkhanda. For example, Arahants. Everybody knows the Arahants. The people who eradicated the all defilements with regard to the Theravada Buddhism, we say they are the Arahants. So, the Arahants have only the Panchakkhanda. Why? They do not cling into the aggregates. No attachment. They practice only the detachment. But as ordinary people, we attach to the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. That is called the Pancha Upadanakkhandha. We attached. We attach to our body. We attach to our feeling. So we attach the perception. What is the perception? No, I don't ask. In philosophy, it is said that the perception is a knowledge, depends upon the senses directly. We attach to that knowledge. We cling into that knowledge. That is the Sanya Upadana. But once after we eradicated whole defilements, no cling, no attach, only the Panchakanda is there. Only the 5 aggregates are there, not cling into that, no attach. That is the difference between Panchakanda and Pancha Upadana Kanda. Is it clear?
Transfer of marriage just now regarding, how about the Metta Sutta? Metta Sutta, when we chant, we send to all our past relatives. That means we have many, many past lives. Whoever past life, they can receive the thing. Is it that way? The way of transference for the Metta Sutta? Is it correct or not?
Yeah, correct, because, in fact, we can say that in the Metta Sutta, we spread the compassion. We expand our compassion into the whole, the world, whoever live in this planet or the universe or something like that. So once after reciting these verses, we believe that we are able to accumulate the merits, that with that compassion. So in the some sutta says that Ananda Thero viya karunya chittang upattapetva. So the with soft-hearted, with that compassion, you have to recite this chanting, then you are able to accumulate the merits. Then with that thought, we spread our compassion towards the departed ones. That would be the merit. We generate the energy first.
Yeah, the departed one, they will be reborn. So, like, there's a saying that last time they are our parents, and next time they will be our husband and wife, something like that. Because you went through many, many life, there will be like a circle coming back. Last time he's my mother, this time he's my husband, something like that. So, is it the transference of merit, chanting of the metta, has any effect on this of our past life relative? There's a word in the Metta Sutta, relative. I understand from another, I don't know, Tamil speaker or Bhante.
Correct. I can understand your problem.
The word is many past life one.
Same problem occurring in the world as ordinary people. There are some criticism or there are some suggestions, some the opposing, something like that. There are. Don't think too much. Whatever you do, you transfer them. Don't think of them. Sometimes the problem is sometimes when we do not transfer merits, they will harm us. We feel like that.
No, I'm not thinking.
Nothing
like
to worry about that. Nothing to worry. They cannot do anything because we are the powerful people. We have good concentration. So nothing to say much. Do as your responsibility only.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, that's simple. Because the problem is if you think too much without sleeping in the night, then problems will come. Why I did not do that? Why I do not remind them? So am I doing the bad or something like that? So it would be another problem. Yeah, also the suffering. You cannot even sleep well in the night. That's why don't think too much. You do whatever you do. You do what you do. Don't think of the others' words or something like that. The problem is we can concentrate, but others say, why didn't you do that? Why you forgot that? So the problem is others' words. Don't listen to the others' words. You do what you do. That's enough. That's simple. Okay, I'm not going to discuss on the dukkha arya satya because we have already discussed here. The birth. So please read out the Satya Vibhanga Sutta. All references are listed. Read the book of protection, Chatubhanavahara Pali. What is birth? Whatever birth, taking birth, descent, coming to be, arising of the aggregate in the various worlds, that is called the birth. That birth would be suffering. So as you mentioned earlier, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta does not give these details. In the first sutta of the Buddha, first sermon of the Buddha, does not explain, the way of birth, explanation of the birth. Just Buddha says, Jatipi dukkha only. Birth is suffering. These are the details which are reflected in the what is that sutta? Satya Vibhanga Sutta. The details are reflected there. So I'm not going to discuss with you what is decay. Decay in the main problem when we are aging. Our hair would be changed. The skin is wrinkling. There are so many changings and the differences. That is the way of decay that we have to face. We cannot neglect. We cannot neglect. So finally, everything we have to leave. That's what we have to think. Not in the cause of death, before the death. In the age of youth, you have to understand one day we have to leave everything. Not lying on the bed. Not lying on the bed at the hospital. So this must be contemplated. That is called the Marananusati. We have to contemplate on that. This is the important fact. Then what is sorrow? The important, because of the death, we gain sorrow. If there is no death, no sorrow. If there is no birth, no sorrow. They are interrelated. So everything is interrelated. We have to differentiate that. This is what we have to do. What is lamentation? If there is sorrow, we lamentate on that. Not crying, not weeping, we lamentate. We cannot see lamentation in the Malaysia, but we go to the other countries like in India or Sri Lanka or the southeastern countries, how they lamentate. This is what we reflect in the. So this is the way. That is the separation. That is the separation. So we have to face into that separation. How we reflect that? For example, when we go to the funeral in Buddhist, they hang the white flags. We use the white flags. It is hanging. But when we go to the Catholics or the Christianity or any other religions, they hang the black flags. What is the difference? What is the symbol of that color? That is the important fact. What is the symbol of that white and black? What is the symbol of the white? Why we hang the white flags only? White is considered as the symbol of reality. That's why when you come to the temple, you dress white only. That is the reality of the world. That's why we show our gratitude, our privilege, showing that we are wearing the white, because that is the reality of the world. When you go to the wedding, you do not use the white, because that is another world. So that's what we have to think. That is the reality. Yeah, there is a pure. Reality means the pure. Then what is the symbol of black? That is the symbol of separation. That is the separation. So the God gives this person, then God separated him. That is the way of eternal God. That is the way of separation. That separation indicates throughout the symbol of black. That's why they are wearing the black dresses, black flags. They are the symbols that can be understood throughout this way. So that is so finally we lamented because we are the ordinary people. That is suffering. That suffering means the pain. So there are so many pain, especially in the night. Some of them are taking medication, some of them applying the oil. So there are so many things in the night because that is the way of pain.
Why is your church showing physical suffering? What about the mental suffering?
Mental suffering is so deeper and the profound way, so therefore it does not discuss here. So but mental also there, but the mental suffering cannot be understood easily for the ordinary people. Yeah, it is only for the specialized people. Yeah. Still we are we are the ordinary people. No, we are not in the intermediate or in the final. So that's why one day you can understand, this is the way of mental suffering. Yeah, that's what we have to do. So despair, domanassa, so displeasure. So everything is not pleasurable. Everything is not pleasurable because even in the feelings, Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, Adukkama Sukha Vedana, Somanasa Vedana, Domanasa, there are the different type of feelings. So everything cannot be dependent on the pleasurable. There are displeasurable feelings, activities, deeds, something like that. And also upayasa, despair. And also what is not getting what one wants is suffering. If we can receive everything, there is no suffering. We wish something, cannot obtain. There are so many things we need to get. We supposed to get, but cannot receive everything. We are disappointed. So this is the way of life. Then it would become suffering. We feel that, okay, it will be okay later on, but it does not take place. Then it will become suffering. This is the way of life. So, 5 aggregates subject to cleaning. That's what Reverend asked, how the aggregates subject to cleaning. This is quite interesting, but we don't have enough time to discuss regarding this. Origin of suffering, this is quite interesting. If there is suffering, there must be the origin or arising. They are interrelated. If there is A, there is B. If there is no A, there is no B. Asming sati idang hoti. Asming asati idang nahoti. That is logic. That is logic and the epistemology in Buddhism. However, we have to know the origin based on the craving, craving for non-existence, sensual pleasure, existence, something like that. Everybody knows that this is the way of life, this is the way of the surviving of this life. There are so many things we grasp as craving. Not only for this, but also for the next life. Craving for next life. That is also quite interesting. Some people do not live for this life. They are living for next life. Doing many things for next life. They forget this life. First, we have to live this life. Our main responsibility is to make this life successful or the beneficial. Without making this life beneficial, how we think of our next life? Some of us suffering for our next life. I have not done anything for my next life. I have to do something for next life, something like that. There are so many intentions. But what is the purpose of this life? Each and every moment we have to live here. We have to make life beneficial. That is our responsibility, not to think of much unnecessary things. They are the defilements as well. Some of them are craving for next life. They need luxurious life rather than this. It's okay. You have to work for that. But first, you have to make this life successful. For example, you are in the hell here. You are thinking of the heaven next. You are making this life hell. So then how we think of our next life too? So first thing, who we are, what we are. These two things are sufficient. Who we are, what we are. That's quite simple. So living in each and every moment with the happy feelings. Smile with others. And also work for them, work for ourselves. Help to the others. That is quite simple. No unnecessary things. So that is the way of thing. Then we are able to eradicate the craving. This is how gradually we eradicate the craving. Gradually we have to do. Immediately nobody can eradicate the defilements. Immediately. Gradually, one by one. Therefore, it gives the gradual trainings like Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So we cannot gather the knowledge immediately. You have to observe the virtue. You have to follow up the moral conduct. Then you have to concentrate well. In return, you receive the wisdom. So this is the way that we have to follow up as well. That's quite simple. This is how we are following the what you call the gradual trainings. Gradual trainings, Trishiksha. This is what we have to do. Cessation of suffering. Giving up, letting go. The interesting term is letting to go. If our bad thoughts, bad energy comes to our mind, we have to let them to go. Why we keep in our mind? Why we keep in the body? Why we are thinking more and more often? Let them to go. The thing is, unnecessary things come from the community. We keep in our mind. We are living with those. We do not let them to go. For example, somebody said something like rumors. So I heard that. So I am creating many things. I am creating. Always thinking. We do not let them to go. We are living with those unnecessary thoughts. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, something like we are living with those things. What we object here. So important thing is cessation, nirodha. Let them to go. Then it is quite simple. Mind is purified. You can smile always. Life is quite simple. This is how we understand the Four Noble Truths for day-to-day life. not in the profound way, how to apply these terms for our day-to-day life. That's what we have to study first. Otherwise, what the purpose of studying this? Without understanding, without applying these activities for our day-to-day life. This is what we have to do as well. That is quite simple. Is it simple? Yes. Sure. Dukkha Nirodhagamini Ayameva Aryo Attangiko Maggo. That is quite interesting. How the Eightfold Path related for the cessation of suffering. That is quite interesting. That is the practical way to end suffering and realize the liberation. Practically, we must be able to eradicate the whole sufferings, and in return, we realize the emancipation. Is it emancipation or liberation? What is the most appropriate term for Nibbana? Like dukkha? Dukkha, I propose the unsatisfactoriness. That is the ultimate sense. So, how about the Nibbana? Is it liberation or emancipation? With regard to Buddhism, because in everywhere we prefer to use the liberation. That is common to all religions. But most appropriate term for Nibbana is the emancipation. We emancipate. Don't ask the question. We are not enough time to solve. Okay. The Eightfold Path has threefold: wisdom, panya, samma ditti, and samma sankappa. Under guidance of the wisdom, how we develop our mind into the maximum level. If we can develop our mind up to the maximum level, it would be the Nibbana realization of Dhamma. And also ethical conduct, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. The most important term is the right speech. How to refrain from lying and divisive speech, harsh words, ideal character. How we protect our mouth. Most important thing. Because one single word is enough to harass others. So, one single word is enough to suicide. We are making bad. Single word, sometimes no intention to do, but mindfully we have to use our words. The preserving of mouth is more appropriate with regard to Buddhism. Everything is, we are communicating by the words. If we use bad words, it is bad. We have to refrain from bad, especially bad words. We have to refrain from the bad speech, bad action, and bad livelihood, and do good. And speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. These three terms are more sufficient to understand what type of words to be used. Because in Buddhism there are two terms, very briefly I will explain: virati and samadhana. Virati means the refrain from. You have to refrain from. Refrain from lie. Then what you have to do, that is called the samadhana. The sila is fulfilled with two parts. 50% refrain from. 50% what we have to do. This is how 100% filled. If we say that no, I do not say lie, that is 50%. What we have to do that? Speaking truthfully. And also, we have to use the kind words. These are the things that we have to do. If we do not, our heart is spoiled. But we say that we do not say lies. Heart is not purified. But he does not speak kindly, no compassion. Then what is the purpose of refraining from the lie? We have to do something to protect what we say. This is also one such. Finally, mental discipline, samadhi, sila, samadhi, panya. Samadhi means the discipline, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. These are three under guidance of the concentration. Sorry, I took 10 more minutes, so sorry for that. So I'm going to the end of that. Bhante Kondanya is excusing me. I apologize for taking the 10 minutes more. So the one thing, in summary, I would like to remind what we did here. First we discussed the Four Noble Truths with regard to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and the Satcavibhanga Sutta. In that sense, we were able to discuss what are the Satcha truths. One Satcha, two Satchas and four Satchas. We were able to elaborate regarding this. And also how these two suttas related into each other. And also one by one we discuss what is dukkha in the list of 8 factors. 8 factors up to the Panchakanda or 5 aggregates. Then we discuss how arise because of the craving. Then we have to cessate it. How to do that? We have to do mindfully something and we have to work on that. This is the way to cessate on that. There is a path, that is the Eightfold Path. So these are the things we discussed here. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I think we discuss while conducting our the sharing. So afterwards, no more question.